When it comes to perfectionism, it's trash. But guess what? It doesn't matter how many days, weeks, months, years of energy that you put into something, somebody is going to have something bad to say about it, whether you like it or not. If you don't have people who strongly like you and people who strongly dislike you, you're doing something wrong. And the sooner you realize that, hey, I can't control people's thoughts, feelings, actions, all the things, the more peaceful life will become, okay? And this is a hard lesson that I had to learn. When you don't tell anybody what you are planning to do, when you don't actually say out loud what your idea is, you have no accountability. You are hurting yourself by doing that. What is up, Hustle Babe? And welcome back to another episode of Real Talk. Well, maybe I shouldn't call it episode because I still do have a podcast called Hustle Talk. So if you didn't know, now you know. I'll put a link somewhere here so you can check out the podcast episodes. It's coming back for season 2. But in the meantime, in between time, we got these real talks going on. And quite frankly, I think I'm going to keep doing these even when I do have the podcast because it's different. It's a different type of talk, okay? So these real talks are about the thoughts and feelings that I know that you're having. Whereas hustle talks are about the real and raw nitty gritty that goes on in entrepreneurship from the source and from other sources that are within my circle as well. So today we are talking all about being perfect. The dark side to success is that perfectionism literally knocks at your door all the time. And it is so flipping annoying because, quite frankly, people think that you should aim for perfection because it just means you're better than everybody else. It means that your brand is better than everybody else's and that your business is better than everybody else's. But in reality, nobody is perfect because, trust me, there's some flaws about you and there's some flaws about your brand and your business, even if you don't want to admit them. And if you know that there's flaws about yourself or there's flaws about people that you know of, why do you think that it is okay to aim for perfection? And it's funny that I say this because I too have perfectionism syndrome. And honestly, like I said, that's one of the things that starts to creep up on you the more and more that you start to achieve. Because once you get to a certain level, it's as if you have something to prove. And because you have something to prove, you want everything to be a particular way. But that's not right because it drives you crazy, which is why I want to talk about it today. Because you're probably watching this and you have either not launched because you continue to push your launch date back for the sole purpose of you want things to be all the way together, all the way right. Things aren't how you want them, so you're not going to launch right now. You've been saying this for the past few years, maybe months, but a lot of y'all probably years, right? Or you are the person who you've already launched your business and you're in the groove of things, but you keep hesitating on making that next move because you want it to be perfect. Maybe you're holding yourself back from putting out a piece of content or putting out a campaign or putting out a certain product or thing because you want it to be quote unquote perfect. Or you're the entrepreneur who's been in the business for some time, like myself, and you are battling with the fact that now you've made a name for yourself. Your brand has made a name for itself, and everything that you do matters, and everybody is watching you, right? I know that's what you're thinking because that's what I think too, but that is not true. So I want to talk about perfectionism, and I wrote down some notes here so that way I don't get lost in the sauce because I don't want to get caught up preaching. But when it comes to perfectionism, it's trash. Okay, that's the best way I can put it. Because at its root, perfectionism isn't really about the idea of being put together. It's really about fear in itself. Fear of making a mistake, fear of disappointing others, fear of failure, and even to some degree, fear of success, right? Because we want to say that, oh, we want to prepare, we want to keep putting things off and pushing things back because we're not prepared enough or things aren't together enough. But is that truly the reason, or is it truly because if we were to put out something right now, if we were to launch said thing right now, if we were to hit publish on that post right now, is it truly that we are nervous that people will be like, OMG girl, what is this? You know, is that the true reason? Because I think that's what it is. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, actually. You want your work, your art, your piece of content to be so put together that is no way that somebody can give you a bad critique. But guess what? It doesn't matter how many days, weeks, months, years of energy that you put into something, somebody is going to have something bad to say about it, whether you like it or not. And a wise man once said, and this wise man is David Shantz, on his podcast, I think it was either, I don't know if it was Hot Seat or if it was Social Proof. He literally said, if you don't have people who strongly like you and people who strongly dislike you, you're doing something wrong. He said, naturally, when you are successful and when you are not letting anything and anyone stop you and you're truly executing in your purpose and walking in your mission, people naturally are not going to like you or some of the things that you do. And until you have that day, you're not there yet. And so let that sink in, right? Because you're aiming to be this perfect person or to have this perfect product or to have this perfect brand. When you put it out, people are not going to like it regardless. You're going to have some people who love it, yes, but some people are not going to like it regardless. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll actually get over the hump of just actually letting it out there and just letting it rip, okay? Because the more you hold yourself back from letting that thing go, the farther and farther away that you actually get from your goals. You have the goal of becoming a six-figure earner in the next 2 years, but guess what? You keep pushing back the goals because you keep pushing back the said thing that you're supposed to release. And so now 2 years have passed and you're in the same spot that you were back in 2022. Right? So you really have to do some reflection and think, what is my perfectionism truly rooted in? For me, it was a fear of disappointing others mixed with a little bit of fear of failure, because I'm like, oh my goodness, if I fail, I'm teaching about said thing. So if I fail with said thing, people are going to look at me crazy. Guess what? I literally posted my business, quote unquote, is failing vlog, maybe like 6 weeks ago or something from the time of this recording. And so many people resonated with that. And so many people appreciated the transparency and the realness and the rawness there. And if I would have let myself talk me out of posting that video, if I would have let myself talk me out of executing certain steps within my business because I feel like things are falling apart, I wouldn't be here today recording this video. Neither would that vlog have been, if not my top vlog by now, one of the top vlogs that have been watched on my channel. And I am not a vlog channel, so that says a lot. That video has outperformed some of my sit down videos that I've posted recently. So it shows that when you just put the thing out there, even when you're in your head about it, it shows how impactful that can actually be for someone else. Someone needs that piece of content that you're holding on to. Someone needs that product that you're holding on to. Someone needs that one-on-one time with you that you keep holding on to by not putting out your calendar so people can book you. Okay? Someone needs that. Another thing that I realized that comes with this whole perfectionism syndrome, as I like to call it, is the illusion of control. I think that people who aim to be perfect, and when I say people, I'm people, but people who aim to be perfect, they want a sense of control over the outcome because they think that if you can't control it, then it may be doomed. That's what's going on in people's minds when they have perfectionism syndrome. But in reality, it's damaging for long-term success because you can't and won't control everything. At the end of the day, you didn't make this world. You didn't make yourself. You didn't even make the idea that you are executing right now for this very business. So because of that, there's somebody else that's in control. And there's so many things that are just going to happen naturally, or things that are going to happen as a cause, as an effect that you just can't control. And the sooner you realize that, hey, I can't control people's thoughts, feelings, actions, all the things, the more peaceful life will become. Okay. And this is a hard lesson that I had to learn years ago, and I had to relearn recently, because you just can't. You can't stress yourself out about every little thing. Some things you just gotta let go and let God, okay? I know that people, especially when it comes to launching, people will say that, oh, it's better to work in silence and then pop out and show people all the success that you had, or something like that. There's a whole bunch of quotes like that, especially on Pinterest. And I'm bringing this up because I think that is an excuse. That's an excuse to hide behind the perfectionism syndrome. Because guess what? When you don't tell anybody what you are planning to do, when you don't actually say out loud what your idea is, you have no accountability. You act like there's no accountability there, because all you have is the idea within yourself. Maybe you wrote it in a journal or something, but you can let yourself down time and time again and be like, okay, girl, it's fine. We're going to do it again tomorrow. We're going to do it again next week. We're going to do it again next month. But the moment you actually say it to a business bestie, or the moment you actually say it to a coach like me, or to maybe your significant other or something, is the moment somebody else is going to remember that thing, and they're going to say, Sheila, didn't you say you was going to launch that business in December? Girl, it's January. They're going to be the one that says that. See, and that's probably one of the things that you want to control, because you want to control when you do things. You want to try to control the timeline. You don't want to say things aloud. You rather work in silence, because you can keep moving the goalpost back more and more and more. You are hurting yourself by doing that. And I think what made it worse too is, one, yes, all the tweets on Pinterest and people sharing those things, it's so annoying. But another thing that made it worse was when Kendrick came out with his song. Was that this year? Oh yeah, it was this year. When Kendrick came out with his song earlier this year, and the line says, sometimes you got to pop out and show ninjas.
Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching you. Sometimes you got to pop out and show niggas. Certified boogie man, I'm the one that up the score with them.
People started dragging that. And they started pairing that with their perfectionism syndrome and saying, y'all just wait, because sometimes you got to pop out and show ninjas. Okay. I'm going to give an alternative meaning to the verse. I truly think that what he was saying is that you have to give people something to anticipate, right? Give yourself the opportunity to cultivate an audience that you can actually pop out to. So the meaning behind that line that Kendrick said is because there had been years where people were waiting for him to drop certain things. And then when it came time for the actual beef, Drake had dropped his song and it was waiting on Kendrick for, I don't know the exact amount of days, but it felt like forever for a lot of people. And so when he actually dropped the hit that was supposed to be a club song, this was intentional. He made sure to include that line, because at that point, he pretty much, in some's opinion, had won the battle, right? And so he basically was saying, like, sometimes you got to show people not to mess with you. You got to remind them who you are. But in the same sense, people were anticipating his response. So he popped out and he showed y'all what he was made of. So with that being said, though, it is a positive thing to use that line as a, line for motivation. However, you need to cultivate an audience to pop out to. Kendrick didn't just pop out of nowhere and make this song as his first song. He had already displayed a certain level of talent, a certain level of will, a certain level of skill set that people had already determined his degree of greatness in the rap space. So if you are somebody who you are just starting out and you're over here saying, oh, well, I gotta wait till everything's perfect before I launch. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna pop out and show these ninjas and da-da-da-da-da. What exactly are you popping out and showing if nobody's expecting anything? Like, you're just popping out and it's going to be crickets, because they're going to be like, what? When were you even working on that? Like, okay. All right, sure. Moving on. That's the energy that you're going to get, and you don't want to get that. And so I want to talk about the importance of accountability when it comes to reaching your goals, because you need to write your goals down, say your goals out loud, and share it with an accountability partner. I strongly believe in this because that allows you to get that constant reminder. It also allows you to make it real, because we can think a whole bunch of things and we can say we want to accomplish a whole bunch of things to ourselves. But once we make it real and we say it out loud and we share it with an accountability partner, that person, if they're truly an accountability partner, is going to hold you accountable. And that's one of the reasons why I created Bomb CEO in the way that I did, because I wanted to make sure that there was a certain group of women who were serious about growing their brands, building successful businesses, and being the best version of an entrepreneur that they possibly could be, right? And these women literally are in the group, working on their business, working on their brands, sharing updates almost like every day, literally. Like, I don't even have to come in there and say much, but when I do, it just ignites the flame even more. Right now, we are doing a momentum challenge, if you will. It's called Optimal October. And I'm so proud. People are literally showing up every day and executing the task every single day. And that shows you a level of accountability, a level of grit, a level of dedication. And so if you don't have somebody in your corner like that who is dedicated, they know what you're going through, they can hold you accountable, they can give you actual great feedback. If you don't have someone like that, then I definitely suggest that you join Bomb CEO. You know, you can join, and if it's not for you, au revoir. Is that how you say it? I think so. Au revoir. But I promise that when you join, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I love it here. Like, I love the style of teaching. I honestly give raw insight into what I'm doing currently, what I've done in the past that has worked. We do trainings on different tools and softwares. Like, we had a 3-part ManyChat training, and I even templated one of my advanced automations and shared it with the ladies so they can just plug and play. We literally do an action every single time on the session. So if we are learning about target personas and building out your target persona, I am going to walk you through building it out while we're on the session. So that way you don't have to just take all of this information in and go figure it out on your own. You are going to get the action step to make sure that you are moving forward with your brand and your business. So if you're lacking accountability, come on in, okay? So the last part of this video that I want to talk about is I want to talk about how to get over perfectionism, because a lot of this video was about how it hinders your success, which it does, and all the thoughts and ideas that someone who suffers from perfectionism syndrome has. But I didn't talk about some of the ways that you can get over it. I'm going to share 2 more ways that are working for me to get over this perfectionism syndrome. The first way, or the first tip I have for you to let go, is actually realizing that progress is better than perfection. So there's a term, I think it's progress over perfection. And it's important that you make that mindset shift, because you should be focused on progress and consistency versus everything being perfect. The more you consistently do something and the more you consistently show up, the better at it that you'll become by a long shot. But if you keep crippling yourself and you don't show up because you're scared or nervous or skeptical about what people will think, you are taking yourself out of the game before the game even starts. Literally, you're like on the bleachers looking, and that doesn't make any sense. Why not get in the game and build that muscle? Build that muscle of being an entrepreneur. Build that muscle of having like a strategic mindset. Build that muscle of having certain habits. Build that muscle, and you'll notice that you'll become better and better and better. The reason why you can look at these entrepreneurs who have been in the game for 5, 6, 7, 8 years and say, wow, look at their life and look at how great they're able to do this, or look how quick they're able to answer this question, is because they've built that muscle over time by getting in the game. And so you may even, and this is not just to people who haven't launched yet, because you may have launched, but you're not fully in the game. And some of y'all, you call launching just posting and saying you're open for business, and then you're just waiting on sales to come. And when your auntie doesn't buy, nobody else is buying. So you really need to get in the game and get serious about it and realize that progress is better than perfection. The second tip that I have is you need to learn how to let go. You got to learn that you are not the only person who can do something. You're not. It's okay to delegate to other people. Honestly, it is more than okay to delegate to other people. There are certain things that you have to do as the CEO or whatever other position you hold in your business, but there's certain things that you don't have to do. You can also have conversations to help make decisions faster. But when it comes to delegating, there's this quadrant, I believe it's called the task management matrix or something like that. And Eat That Frog, he categorizes it based off of like A, B, C, D, and E tasks. But the task management matrix, it basically says what's urgent and important, what's urgent and not important, what's not urgent, not important, and what's urgent and not important, something like that, right? And then you have the Eat That Frog concept where he says your biggest frog is A, your smaller frogs are B, C's are things that are nice to get done, but you don't have to get them done right now. And then D are things you can delegate, and E's are things that just aren't important, period. Think about what you're doing in your day-to-day right now. Write out all of the tasks that you're doing, all of the roles that you're fulfilling, and categorize them based off of that. And if you find yourself seeing that there's something that you shouldn't be focused on right now, put it for later. If you see that it's something that you don't necessarily have to do yourself because either you're not great at it or you just don't have to do it, it's very time consuming. You can have somebody else who specializes in it take over, or you can train somebody to have that be their own zone of expertise. Go ahead and do that. So that way you can take things off of your plate that you're overthinking about. The less you can overthink about and the more you can have other people make decisions, the better you'll be if you battle perfectionism syndrome. So I want to end this video with a quote. It says, "The most valuable thing you can make is a mistake. You can't learn anything from being perfect." Isn't that crazy? So you think that by trying to make everything perfect that you're avoiding mistakes, but mistakes are actually the most valuable thing that you can make because mistakes allow you to learn, right? In order to learn how to ride a bike, you probably had to fall off. In order to learn how to skate, you probably had to fall a couple of times because Lord knows I did. In order to learn how to swim, you probably had to jump in the water and go to the bottom a couple of times. It happens. And it's no different in business. It's no different in brand building. It's no different in the online space. Whatever it is that you are setting out to do, whether you're watching this as an entrepreneur, whether you're watching this as maybe even like a content creator or something, because I know there's various people within my audience. Whoever it is that you are at this current moment, mistakes are the best thing that you can make. That's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please comment below your takeaway from this video. If you're interested in Bomb CEO, I will leave the link below. We don't normally have it open, but I'm going to open it for this video. So if you're interested, join. It'll have a timer when you click that will tell you when we are closing the doors. It is super exclusive because I want certain people in there. So if you are someone who you're ready to elevate, you're ready to get serious, you want that level of accountability, and you want that level of raw insight and strategic insight from me, then definitely make sure that you join. Follow me on Instagram at The Brand Hustler. Also follow me on TikTok at The Brand Hustler as well. And I think I said this already, but just in case, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Hit the subscription button. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.